I've said on the previous video of this series that I'm going to discuss the topic that is why we keep realizing what we don't want and how to flip that. And I decided to do that by using the main theme of the book Psycho-Cybernetics by Dr. Maxwell Maltz, the theme of visualization. And I'm going to help myself by using the current video, which was a famous video on the motorcycling YouTube sphere, and I'm going to play it right now. So as you can see, the motorcyclist was turning a sharp turn and he target fixated on the truck. And another subtle point, which is counter steering. We're going to discuss all of that and how it links to the video. But first, let's start by talking about how we first learn to ride two wheels, or in other words, our first programming into riding two wheels. So when we're young, we learn that two wheels is about letting go, providing the bike with a minimum speed and keeping in mind the direction we want to go into. We might also learn that by steering into a set direction, the bicycle goes on its own into that direction. By steering into the left, the bike goes to the left. If we, for instance, shake our head into every possible direction, we might fall. And that's simply some basic understanding of how the bike works, how two wheels work. Now, the thing that we don't learn when we're riding bicycles in a young age is the principle of counter steering. It is the thing that is tested when we panic. So, usually, when we panic, we revert to our child mode or our young first initial programming mode. And so, as I've said, first thing that the biker shouldn't have done was to target fixate on the truck, which it doesn't want to go into. It should have instead focused on the road. And the other thing is that at high speeds, motorcycles don't behave the same way. At low speeds, either you're riding a motorcycle or a bike, it's the same thing. You turn the wheel where you want to go. But in this instance, you need to counter steer, which means that you need to turn the steering wheel in the opposite direction, or rather, you need to make the bike lose balance in the opposite side for it to turn in the side you want. But this can't happen when you panic and you see a truck that's you're fixating on. And that's the dynamic between the target goals that we set ourselves in life and the subtle subconscious processes that governs them. So for instance, this rider has forcibly tried to turn the steering wheel the same way he learned when he was young, or the same way he would have turned a car steering wheel, and at the same time he fixated on the truck. So as a recap, in the book Psycho-Cybernetics, the author talks about keeping your target goal in mind, consciously thinking about it, and that's the target fixation you want, while at the same time you need to be able to let go and go with the flow and trust that you already know how to go into the direction you've set yourself into. Basically, the author refers to this as your several mechanism or your genie inside, only if it's not constantly inhibited, which is the part, as I've said, of letting go and trusting in it. Okay, but you might say that you hate your circumstances so much that it's the only thing that's filling up your mind, or that it's the only thing you're fixating on. So what you might do in that case is first of all write down all the stuff you hate and then contrast it with the stuff that is opposite to that. That's where you will find what you actually want. That's what you want to fixate on. And if you can, with provide just a little bit of gratefulness towards the stuff that you don't like, and that would greatly propel you towards the stuff that you want. And this type of practice works for all sorts of goals. So I myself tried before visualization while playing video games. So I visualize how the game would be performed before it happens. I visualize how I'm going to hit my opponents and in ways that you have to experience yourself in order to understand. The games where I have practiced visualization performed better than the ones where I haven't. So two questions arises from this thing. The first one is, maybe I'm someone that have practiced a lot of video games in my youth, and now when I'm visualizing, I'm just helping myself a little bit by remembering stuff that I have experienced before. And the writer of the book Psycho-Cybernetics gives an example to stuff that you have never felt before, or rather that you have never experienced before. For, for me, maybe riding a helicopter or riding a boat are things that I don't have the muscle memory towards, nor do I know what intending on those things must feel like. So the example given by the author on this exact thing is that there was a horse trainer which had the task of training a horse in a small period of time in order to in order to participate and win a competition. The issue is that there wasn't enough time to establish a communication with the horse, which is something that is very important in order to win the race. So what that person did, since it couldn't visualize performing with that horse and visualizing how the dynamic would be of communication between her and the horse, which is something that's very important for her to win, she just visualized the winning ceremony and getting the gold medal. And so when this person speaks about her winning ceremony, she talks about how it was similar to her visualization practice. And that's a bit on the metaphysical side of things. And another question that arises from this thing is, if you're just going to visualize performing on a video game, why don't you just play a video game to warm up for other video games? The question now is, why do you want to warm up for a performance? When there's a complicated physical task, you might want to warm up your muscles, but even in football performances or I don't know, some tennis or motorcycle, MotoGP, for instance, performance, you still are not performing at your 100% in the warm-up. And the reason why is you don't want to exhaust yourself. So why is it that you would want to visualize before practicing? Why would you want to be at 30% or 20% of your maximum performance? Or not even physically exerting yourself the way we do in visualization? And the answer to that is simply that if you can imagine to see opportunities or see the way something will play out without it even being in front of you. So you're visualizing, say, you're going to hit a ball in a certain way. It's not something that's happening, but you're forcing yourself to visualize that. Then, when it actually happens, it's as if you were starving for that opportunity to present itself, and you will get it. It's like a rubber band that's been pulled, and now it has nowhere to go but get that opportunity. And that's how it works for this micro target goals. So, for instance, swinging a golf ball or hitting a baseball or the way you want to perform in a video game, for instance. And it goes even to target goals like public speaking or job performance. So it goes from the micro things to the macro things, which are our life goals, career related goals, and so on. That's what I wanted to talk about in this video. I hope you've learned something from it, and I also hope I can see you on the next video. Thanks for watching.